Welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. You got the full CHGO White Sox crew with you. I'm Sean Anderson. On the far left is Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. And the man in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. Is our CHGO White Sox community leader. We doing all good? I know your microphone's giving you an issue here, Vin.
Watch this.
And that, folks, is how Isaac Newton discovered gravity.
He discovered more painfully, if memory serves.
Was he not doing a podcast?
He might have been. He was doing a podcast
Under
on
a
apples,
tree.
and the apples came back to bite him.
We've always wanted to do a podcast outside.
We have. Well,
Maybe
now
we
it's
discovered
becoming.
gravity.
Now we have to wait till we have to wait like another 8 months.
We could have done it today.
Oh, it's nice out today.
It's nice out today. Yeah. Anyways, at Vinnie Duber, at Ecknerwall23, at Sean_W_Anderson. We're being produced today by the very trigger-happy Greg Braggs Jr., who hopefully will not blow out your eardrums like he did yesterday. We'll be talking a little bit about Tim Anderson today.
But, I mean, it turns out he had good reason to.
That's true.
How about them Hawks?
Hey, here come the Hawks.
Awesome game. I watched the full-ass Hawks game for the first time in like 6 years.
There's another one tonight.
I'm good.
Wow.
One is enough.
No, Herb was not.
I saw what I needed
on.
to see. The guy was great. The Hawks won. Good victory. I'm watching the Bruins too. Golly, that's too much.
I have promised to save your viewers and listeners from not doing the horn today.
But hey, if they keep winning,
you're tempting me.
If they keep winning, we need to bring it back.
I'm gonna bet on them tonight, and like I bet last night with over 2.5 shot attempts or shots on goal by my man. See, and also I'm gonna get him a point for Connor Bedard. I'm gonna parlay those two together.
All right.
Last night was only minus 190. I was like, just give me that free extra money.
There you go.
He got that in the first period.
And I was wrong. Lawrence was very sure to make me aware of that I thought he was going to have a little bit of adjustment period.
It's going to be like settling in?
Yeah, no. That 18-year-old looked like a 35-year-old. He looked just like
he belonged.
A natural.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit over the top when they were like the opening package was about like stars and like they open on the universe, like the Milky Way. Yeah. I'm like, all right, this is a little bit dramatic.
Yeah.
But he was pretty good, and they won the game, so that's good.
It was great. I enjoyed watching it.
Hopefully they keep winning. I mean, the White Sox won their home opener or their season opener.
They did not win their home opener, as we remember.
Poor Michael Kopech. But they won their season opener.
They did.
And then they lost 101 times after that. So
at least Blackhawks, I can guarantee you the Blackhawks will not lose 101 games this year.
I was going to make the same joke.
Guaranteed.
Hockey guy. Vinny.
That's an elite hockey mind right there.
They might lose 81, but they won't lose 101.
That'd be impressive in its own right. All right, let's jump into some Tim Anderson talk today because, again, we've talked about this ever since the home opener, or even the season opener, probably even in spring training. Tim Anderson has a team option in 2024. And I remember even talking last offseason on if they should trade Tim Anderson last offseason. And now they kind of have a different just whole conundrum. Chris Getz stepping into this position as general manager now has to make the decision on if Tim Anderson's going to be a part of the team in 2024 by picking up that team option or buying him out for $1 million. We can talk about the expansive ideas that we've thought of already. Maybe they pick up the option and trade him. Maybe they keep him because there just isn't a lot out there on the free agent market. We won't really know the true White Sox decision in 10 days after the World Series?
I believe it's about a week and a half after the World Series is the deadline on options such as that one.
So it's coming up.
Yeah.
So just trying to be prepared, right? I mean, if it happens 7 days or whatever after the World Series, they come out and Chris Getz declines the option, right? We'll be ready with an emergency podcast or whatever Herb wants to call it.
That's fine.
Yeah. If they pick up the option, we'll do a emergency get to your computers podcast. Just to be ready, let's kind of lay the groundwork. now that the dust is settled, about 10 days away from the final game, what is Tim Anderson's future with the White Sox, Herb?
I think this year is Tim Anderson's last year as a White Sox. I believe
2024.
2024. They'll pick up his option because it makes business sense and it makes sense for the team. And then I think Tim Anderson will perform to standards that he set before this 2023 season. I think he'll still get hurt because that's White Sox stuff, but he'll have numbers, and I don't think the White Sox will be competing next year for the AL Central, or at least not at the trade deadline where they're about to trade Tim Anderson right there, because I think at that time his value will be high because it's a 2-month rental and he's playing so well. Some other team would want him, and I think the White Sox, as well as some of you guys who are watching right now, not fed up, but they see a couple of cracks and some of the times where Tim's not giving the effort that is necessary for winners, for a team to be setting the standard. And he's fallen below what I've liked every game where you see him. He's just like lackadaisical throw to first, jogging to first, out of it. You know, this year was just a bad year, both on and off the field for Tim Anderson. So I think a clean split at the trade deadline will work for everybody. Tim gets to rebuild his value, then go to a team, and then probably perform in the playoffs, as we've seen him do in the 2 times that he's been there, and then get some more money on the free agent market next year. But I think this marriage between the two is heading towards a divorce, but an amicable one where both teams get what they want eventually, or both parties get what they want eventually.
It very much depends on what the White Sox want to do, and we have not gotten a straight answer from Chris Getz or really anybody on whether their intention is to compete for an AL Central title next year. Now, as we've said on this podcast numerous times, I don't think that's really a terrible thing because they might not know. They might not know how much they're going to be able to get done this winter that will set them up to either compete for an AL Central title or say, oh boy, we need to focus on 25 because 24 is just not realistic with the roster that we've got. Tim Anderson allows them to gives them a better chance of competing. Keeping him gives them a better chance of competing for that AL Central title and beyond next year. That being said, that's the first decision they have to make. They don't know whether they're going to be able to sign 3 pitchers. They don't know whether they're going to be able to add a new right fielder and a new catcher and a new second baseman by the time that they've got to make a decision on Tim Anderson's option. And so I come back to $14 million, relatively speaking, is not the biggest gamble to make on a guy who could be an all-star shortstop, a batting title-winning shortstop, a guy at the top of your order, as we discussed yesterday, who makes everything else go. Mm-hmm. The White Sox, as currently constructed, are much better with Tim Anderson than without. Declining that option gives Chris Getz yet another thing that he's got to go out and find, a new shortstop, or as we'll probably talk about, a new middle infielder in general, we'll say, if they decide to part ways with Tim Anderson this winter. All that said, the way Chris Getz has talked about it, very non-committal, it's got to put some doubt in your mind, even if a little bit, right? It maybe not is that slam dunk decision, Herb, that you and I have kind of assumed that it would be for months now. Yeah. And you know, I know, Sean, you've been voicing kind of the opposite opinion, whether, you know, that's devil's advocate or what you're actually thinking, but it seems that line of thinking at least needs to be recognized at the moment because there hasn't been this very strong, we want Tim Anderson back next year. Yeah, Tim Anderson, he's one of the faces of our franchise. We want to be just like him. Remember, change the game. Remember, stick talk. We want to do that all over again. We haven't gotten that from the White Sox this year, and so you have to consider and think about the reality that maybe he won't get picked up. That said, as I've said before, you don't pick up Tim Anderson's option, you're in a rebuild. And I don't know if it's one that's going to last 6 or 8 years. It might just be one that's going to last 1 year. But you are in a rebuild because that guy helps you win when he's doing things right. And it is very much worth the $14 million gamble to try to get him to do things right for your team again.
And I think we'll get into why it would be a rebuild once we look at the free agents. But I do go back to what we talked about 2 weeks ago about what it defined the culture of Chris Getz and Pedro Grifol's tenure if they did cut Tim Anderson. Again, you bring up the straw that stirs the drink. There's a lot that Tim Anderson means to this organization, but that was also when this organization was winning and people were enjoying baseball watching the White Sox, which people aren't anymore.
And when he was, relatively speaking, in the last 2 years, healthy.
Yes. Yeah. And again, it's very weird that he is a knack for playing 123 games. 2019, he played 123 games. 2021, he played 123 games. And in 2023, he played 123 games. But the issue that I just it's sticking out like a sore thumb, and we brought it up last year, he clearly made a decision to try to improve his ability by going to driveline. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we saw the fruits of that labor because of the injury that ended up happening in Minnesota with Alberto running into his knee. I don't know if that's the full reason why we didn't see it. He also just might be bad and older.
Hanser Alberto leading someone else to run into his knee. Remember that.
Alberto didn't. I don't remember it.
It was a throw. It was a bad. It was a poorly executed rundown, and Hanser made kind of a poor throw to Tim, which he had to catch, which he had to kind of move out to catch, leading him right into the Twins base runner who ran into his knee.
I thought it was Alberto himself.
I
thought it was so poorly executed rundown.
It was not a Stooges-esque collision.
You never know with the White Sox. But I think the biggest thing that has stuck out in my research is just Tim isn't the same player, and maybe that is because of injury. Maybe it's because he's getting older. Maybe it's because that, edge isn't there anymore. But if you look from 2019 to 2021, we've been talking a lot about heart of the plate, right? In the past couple of episodes. And if you don't know what the heart of the plate is and you've missed heart, shadow, chase, waist.
Just go to your childhood bedroom, open the closet, take out your Pokemon cards. It's in there somewhere.
Sure.
I'm sure.
Or you could type in StatCast attack zones because that's not blocked by any firewall or anything. That's a safe for work a search. But you'll be able to see that that's basically just pitches that are over the heart of the plate, right? They are clearly strikes. There's no borderlineness to it. It is in the heart of the plate. And I feel like our first year watching White Sox baseball together, Herb, every time a Tiger or a Guardian or a Royal threw a fastball down the middle to Tim Anderson, we knew that was going to be hit into right field.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, that was his bread and butter, and we have not seen that in the past couple of years. You look from 2019 to 2021, just to put some stats to it, Tim Anderson was 12th in the heart of the zone on batter run value at 13.4. Just a great job of consistently putting those balls in play. An expected weighted on base of 489. That was his bread and butter. That's how he, made his bread, and that's why we thought that he was so important to this White Sox team. He was the straw that stirred the drink and was the undoubted leadoff hitter for this team. For 4 years basically. But then you roll it back and you look at Tim Anderson now, and what he has been, and of course it's impossible to find Tim Anderson on StatCast. Cool.
It's just mixing you up. It's not letting you see Tim's heart, shadow, chasing waist.
Basically. I'm annoyed. Anyways, Tim from 2022 to 2023, a negative 3.1 batter run value, and an expected weighted on base average of 388. So basically 100 points different right there. Losing negative 16 run value over 2 years, basically, from 13.4 over those 3 years to negative 3.1. Just a completely different hitter, and just not setting that tone, not setting that example, and always just falling behind pitchers and just not being that guy that was so vaunted at the top of the lineup. And I just have worries that, just like Yasmani Grandal, just like, how many countless other players that we've seen with the White Sox get hurt, just really never bounce back. It does seem like consistently from 2021 to 2023 that he has gotten worse in that zone that has made him so good, just fastballs down the middle. It seems like he's really lost that knack and touch, and it seems like that was the reason he went to driveline, and those results really never showed.
Yeah, and it's not supposed to happen this early in his career. He's only, 29, 30 years old. To have that be a bugaboo, especially as the leadoff hitter, and it's not going to move, is a problem. And you put in 22 into the 23, so I'm sure the 22 stats help the 23, because the 23 stats woeful, especially at that. I don't know if you can look at that, what the difference between 22 and 23 of the heart was, because last year we were sitting here and it was me, you, Steven, and sometimes Vinny would be here, sometimes he'd be at the game, and we would look at the pitch like, if he throws him a fastball, he's going to hit it to right field.
It's funny, Herb. I was actually making a graphic for you to show you. I didn't get made it. But in 2022, negative 1.2 run value. 2023, negative 1.9 run value.
Right,
so he was worse. Expected weighted on base average in 2022, 4.32. In 2023, 3.55. But you look at 2021, 2022, and 2023, worse launch angles, worse average distance, and worse average exit velocity. So he just wasn't creating the same power. And the power was, at least exit velocity-wise, similar in 2022 and 2023, where I think it was like 2 points higher in 2021.
And most of Timmy's injuries are lower body, right? I mean, I know he had the hand thing last year, but most of them's lower body, and that's where you generate your power as a hitter, that lower body torque. And we know Tim's got some of the best as a smaller type of player. So, yeah, he was missing balls, and, like, we were just like, man, Detroit don't have a scouting report on this guy because they keep on throwing fastballs. First pitch of the game, hits to right field. And so if he's not doing that, and he's also hitting the ball right to the shortstop his first pitch, where those fastballs are hard to the zone, he's just grounding to the shortstop. That's not helping the team at all. And if it's just because his injuries haven't healed up properly, I can understand that. Let him have a full offseason of full rest. This year, remember, he played in the World Baseball Classic, played at second base. He was all right. He was actually kind of decent there. I would like a full offseason where he's just getting his mind clear, his weight up, and then going back to old school stuff. As we're talking about Brian Bannister, of players that he likes to get at reclamation projects that have fallen back on hard times, I hope they get the offensive version of Brian Bannister and say, Tim, 19, 20, 21, this is what you did. 22 and 23, that's trash. We're going back to that. And trust in your hands, F that drive line stuff, because you see the results of the drive line stuff. I know you might have been injured this year, but that's the results of it. We're going back to when you won the batting title, and that's what you're doing now. And to see if you can just take what they're giving to you, Tim. And if you're going to be a person that's not going to be taking pitches, here's the balls right in the middle of the plate. You have to do something with it. Or else, and me and Jim Cook, who was our sales guy, we're talking about this, drop him from the top of the order. Because he's not doing well for the White Sox. He's not producing any runs. He's not watching enough balls for the rest of his teammates to see what's going on with the pitches and what the pitchers are doing that day. So he needs to be the old Tim Anderson or get dropped down to the bottom of the order.
I think, Herb, a lot of what you said is on the table for the White Sox. I think that really this year was about that knee injury. And, I know you can't blame an entire season worth of being – if not one of the worst offensive player in baseball this year on just a knee injury that you did play through for the most part. That being said, the explanation that I got from whether it was Pedro or anybody else with the White Sox was, hey, Tim Anderson had a knee injury. He tried to play through it and therefore changed his mechanics. Changing the mechanics got him into bad habits that do not produce the success that he wanted to have. Even once the knee injury cleared up, and we talked about, was it July that he had a pretty decent month there, even after the knee injury cleared up, those bad habits were still there. And so this is just a completely lost season for him because of, initially, the knee injury. And so you mentioned the World Baseball Classic. He looked like that energetic spark plug guy that he has been for this team for years, right, in the World Baseball Classic. First week of the season, his numbers were Tim Anderson numbers in the first week of the season. Mm-hmm. And then he gets hurt right when they go to Minnesota. So I do think that there's reason to believe that Tim Anderson will be back looking more like himself come April or come end of March when opening day is, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that the White Sox would be very well within their sanity to make that gamble like we were talking about earlier in the show. That being said, Chris Getz was asked about the top of the lineup. TA and Andrew Benintendi obviously didn't get the job done this year. And he said, yeah, we might need to look into some, changing things up. And, we've heard conversation about, hey, can Tim Anderson play second base? Should Tim Anderson be the second baseman for this team? And guys have said, well, he's athletic. He can do it. You saw him do it in the WBC. I think they only did it 1 or 2 days for him on the big league team this year. But it's out there, and it's not necessarily being swept away. No, he's our shortstop. Why would we ever do that kind of thing, as it has been in the past, right? So I think there are some things on the table that the White Sox are looking at. Hey, Tim Anderson would be a great thing to have in our lineup, but maybe there are other ways we can deploy him if he doesn't show up being the Tim Anderson of old, the guy that you were just talking about. I don't know if he needs to throw everything that he's worked on and tried to improve on out the window. He just needs to be healthy enough to use it. And I think he needs to realize that, hey, Tim Anderson, and I know he realizes this because he's very confident in himself. Tim Anderson was a guy who was getting on base all the time via the base hit. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
And you don't need to become a new kind of player to do that. That's the kind of thing that made him the kind of player who could get that big shortstop money, that could get that big shortstop contract, even if the defense, which got a lot better and then got worse this year, had not been up to the offense, so to speak. But this is a guy that can still be very, very helpful for this team, very, very important for this team. And I think that them picking up that option, though, doesn't necessarily mean that it's just going to be like, all right, do your thing, and we'll talk to you at the end of the year kind of thing.
And, hey, Sam makes a good point. I mean, flexibility is always important. If you could play shortstop, maybe you could play second base, maybe you could play right field. Maybe, I mean, hey, that's an open spot, too, for the White Sox.
I think that there's been enough complaints from White Sox fans about playing players out of position that maybe that should be really kind of put to the back burner.
You eliminate ground balls, you eliminate double plays, you eliminate pickoffs. All the guy has to worry about is catching fly balls. I don't know, it seems all right.
But he's never played outfield.
I was kidding. So, real quick, Tim just never really caught on, even when these stretches I'm bringing up. His OPS still under 700 in these stretches.
There's no power. Yeah.
Right, no power, and still Tim Anderson's approach is always, I'm going to get on via the hit. So there's no on-base percentage to go with these numbers as well. This is strictly batting average, and you know how much I love to judge guys on just batting average. But July 14th to August 27th, that's a 30-game stretch, he had a batting average of 300, and May 13th to June 9th, 24-game stretch, he had a batting average of 293. So, I mean, that's about 54 games where he was, around a 300 hitter. If he still has that contact, hopefully he can use those contact skills and build up that power, but the power has been draining, especially on the pitches that you're supposed to be creating power on for hitters. So we'll obviously monitor it because we got more on it after the break.
But I'll say this one more thing too. When it comes to the power, if Tim Anderson would have only hit one home run this year but batted .330,
no one cares.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Right? And I know the expectation was not to be that, right? The expectation was, holy smokes, this guy could hit 20 home runs one day. I understand that. But doing the thing that makes him so important to this lineup would cover up the fact that he's not hitting any home runs.
Right. I mean, as long as he's getting on base, that's what's most important. If the power comes with it, cool. But, if he's hitting .330 and stealing, 35 bags and is healthy, I don't think there's going to be a ton of complaints. We'll get to that, too, because, again, I don't know how many guys can do that in the free agent market that is going to be available for Chris Getz. Let's take a quick break, though. Let you know about our friends over at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kind of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your football season. No matter where you are on your cannabis journey, they have easy online ordering and in-store pickup to make it easy for you. And their great transparent loyalty program, Sunnyside Rewards, means you get rewarded for your purchases. It's Illinois' favorite dispensary. Herb's favorite is over in Wrigleyville.
Yesterday I went to the one in River North.
Oh, how was that?
Less busy. Just the same, but
Okay.
less busy.
There you go.
Yeah, you would think it would be just as busy, but no. I got in and out.
They're parking there?
There is. You got to find it.
Okay.
I mean, it's downtown, so, if you're used to Chicago, you'll find parking.
There you go. Their Sunnyside house of brands that Herb was able to explore in River North includes Mindy's, Good News, Cresco, High Supply, Florical, Wonder, Remedy. What'd you pick up?
I got the good news Friday, of course. Two of them.
And you got Friday coming up.
They had a
in the
nice
next 2 days.
discount, too. If you bought 2, you got 15% off. You bought 3, you get 20% off. It was nice.
And I know these aren't stackable with other promotions, but, hey, if you do want to try out a different code, we got code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order. Through October 15th, head to sunnyside.shop. Place a pre-order. Use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order. One use per customer. It's not stackable with other promotions, and that's not only for new customers. Anyone can use our code, so pick up everything you need to elevate your football season. Must be 21 plus or an Illinois Med card holder. Also want to let you know about our friends over at FOCO. We got our Southpaw one back there.
Right behind me, yeah.
Tim Anderson. How fitting. Back there as well. FOCO donated those great set decorations to us, and we appreciate that. Go show them some love at FOCO.com, FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below for online presale items. Just promo code CHGO for 10% off. They got the lovely Tim Anderson bobblehead that you can see behind us with the red line Sox 35th facade. You also got the front entrance facade there at 35th and Shields. It's a nice little South Side uniform that he's got on too. But, even second in the lineup, they got you covered. And you might be looking for an Andrew Benintendi bobblehead. Why look any further than an Arkansas Razorback?
Now, does that one incorporate any sort of public transit imagery from Fayetteville, Arkansas?
I don't think so.
No, see, I think all of them should have some sort of thing on there.
A horse and buggy.
That's what
Arkansas
got him. Yeah. Got him, Herb.
Is strong bus transit line in Fayetteville?
Maybe.
I don't know what it's called. I mean, it's probably, I don't know what the CTA equivalent is. The FTA?
Hog bus.
Go to check out FOCO.com, FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below for online presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. If you actually just scream out "Woo Pig Suey," a rabid hog comes and gives you a ride.
Maybe it's like you got sled dogs. Maybe they got sled hogs down there.
Sled hogs,
yeah.
Nice. And they got roller skates, because
the hogs are wearing roller skates.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think they'd go faster without them. I got to be honest.
Yeah, they're fast as hell.
I don't think you're convincing a wild boar to roller skate.
But there's no snow to build traction. I mean, that's the whole point of sled dogs. I mean, what is the
they have
sled
on the sled?
Yeah.
There could be wheels on the sled, just not on I thought you meant the hogs would be wearing little roller skates.
It'd be fun.
I don't think it would be.
Not for the hog.
The wheels on the hug bus go woo pig suey. Something there? No? Okay. All right, let's move on to the free agents. Let's go to second base first because there is a friendly face there. We've been talking a lot about Tim Anderson, but hey, you guys, is Elvis Andrus just not going to be on the 2024 Chicago White Sox? I mean, this is the most valuable second baseman in the free agent market. Elvis Andrus at age 35.
This is career.
Has career F4 of 36.1 F4, but also had the most F4 out of any of these players in 2023.
Is that true? No.
Yes.
Whit Merrifield was an all-star.
You think that means something?
He wasn't good.
Can you name the all-star MVP?
Terrible.
What do you mean? Do I think it means something? It means he was doing in July.
You brought that up with Benintendi. You brought that up with Merrifield. You brought that up with Michael Lorenzen.
You don't get named an all-star if you're bad.
Yes, you do.
What do you mean, yes, you do?
Andrew Benintendi in 2022.
Well, sometimes you do, but he was on a team with a bunch of other all-stars.
But he was fine.
Yeah.
He wasn't bad, is my point.
Offensively, he wasn't great.
You like to crush batting average, right?
Yeah.
But my thoughts on batting average is, if you have a low batting average, doesn't necessarily mean you're bad. But if you have a high batting average, that's good. If you're getting a hit 3 out of 10 times, that's good.
Yeah, I agree.
Being an all-star, that's good.
No, I'm not taking Elvis Andrus. He's not good, Sean.
Maybe you should combine them into one person. Elvis Andrus Benintendi.
What would that do?
He's a terrible player.
What would that accomplish?
Well, you could have the fun pun.
Yeah. Fun pun.
Fun pun. Elvis Andrus worth 4.6 WAR. Jorge Polanco 3.3. Whit Merrifield 3.
You said 4.6?
This is according to MLB.com.
No,
this is according to MLB.com.
No, he was not a 4.
I don't know where that number came from.
Not a chance.
I don't know where that number came from.
That sounds like a misplaced decimal point.
I am not the person. I think his thing was at 2 WAR, which is good for a guy that I didn't expect much from. But he is not at a 4.
Fangraphs has him at 1.1.
There we go. I'm about to say.
And Baseball Reference has him at 0.6.
There we go.
God.
The first half of the season, he was
Golly.
he couldn't hit anything.
No, but then he got super hot.
Yeah.
Sure, but not 4.6.
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Wow. I was about to bust out WAR. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
But you're asking us which one of those players would I pick? Jorge
Well,
Polanco.
no. What I'm saying is, so what we're trying to figure out here is, if you are Chris Getz, you're looking at that option for Tim Anderson. Does this list come into factor? And you bring up Jorge Polanco, but I mean, is that actually obtainable? I mean, Minnesota, who just made the playoffs, also might want Jorge Polanco.
I mean, that's good that they want him, but you have to go and get him from them and make it an addition by subtraction.
There is a club option too.
Fuck, it's over there.
That's why I wanted to bring up
and
the
if,
team.
And if I may, the Chicago's already tried John Shoup with the Bears, and that did not go well.
But that's
Different
Jonathan
guy.
Scope, though.
Yeah, different guy.
Yeah.
He's
This guy pronounces
it
his
different.
name like the mouthwash.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's
so it's spelled wrong.
he's from
is what you're
Curacao,
saying.
right?
He is from
He is from
Curacao.
Curacao. That's the Dutch spelling.
Would that be Karakan? What's the
What is their nationality?
like
Oh, their
Venezuelan?
demonym? What's
Yeah.
Uh,
their demonym? I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
Karakan sounds right. But you know, they're
They're Dutch.
yeah, they're Dutch.
That's it.
No, they're
Oh, I know they're
the
Dutch.
nation, the Kingdom of Netherlands runs them
Yeah.
with
But
Bert Bijleveen.
He runs them.
Yeah, he's like, hey, hit a single.
He's the Dutch Mr. Baseball.
Thank you, Mr. Bijleveen. I'll do it. The Kingdom of Netherlands compels you to hit a single.
Curaçaoan.
Curaçaoan.
Yes.
That's fun.
you go.
Polanco has a club option. Whit Merrifield. Whit has a mutual option.
I don't
Stay
want,
with the Blue Jays.
I do not want Whit Merrifield.
But he's
advanced
going
in
to be a
age.
White Sox.
Yes, exactly. He's advanced in age. He didn't have a good year last year, and I don't think he comes here and rediscovers the fountain of youth. I think he's just going to be a bad former Royal that's on the White Sox, like most of them are.
If they could get a deal, if they could get him at a low cost, he fits what they need from a positional standpoint, right? Somebody who can play second base, somebody they can put in a corner outfield spot and depend on a little bit. Obviously, he's a former Royal, and you've got some former Royals connections on the White Sox these days, as we've talked quite a bit about. But at the end of the day, he seems like the kind of guy you sign if you want to compete next year. You know what I mean? The resources get committed to somebody who's 35 who can help you get over the hump to get to where you want to go. If they are teetering on the edge of next year's going to be a rebuild year / next year maybe they'll jump up and compete. It doesn't seem like that's the way you allocate those resources.
And Fred, he predicted the 100 losses, the long sludge to 100 losses at the beginning of the year. And now he's saying the countdown to Salvi Perez and Whit Merrifield. Stop putting that stuff out in the atmosphere, Fred. Put a good player out in the atmosphere, but I know we're going to go there.
I did see.
It's going that way.
You've brought up, Vinny, the whole Salvi Perez costs too much.
He does.
I did see, and this is not me.
Oh,
I am bringing this up because someone else said this. Luke, and I'm going to screw up his last name.
Whitmire.
What?
Stuckmeyer and Whit.
Luke Smales. It looks like snails, but with an M.
Judge Smales from Caddyshack?
Maybe. I haven't seen that movie.
Oh, you should. It's very good.
But shout out to Luke. Luke works with 643 charts. But he said the only scenario where I'd even consider trading for Salvi would be if KC took back Benintendi and all the remaining 4 years on his deal. I mean, could we make it happen? Give him the left fielder. We'll take Salvi. I'd love it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
We got the worst year that Andrew Benintendi's going to have in these 5 years. And we're going to trade him away to Kansas City. So in these 4 years, he's going to dominate us. And we're going to have the terrible Salvi Perez version of this.
You think Homeboy's getting better?
Yes. He can get worse.
Yes, he can.
How can he get worse? He hit 5 home runs.
He can hit 4.
He barely got on base at 320, which is way below his career on base percentage.
Team high.
Team high, though. I think he's going to get better, especially in Kansas City, where he was an all-star, Sean. Damn it.
It's true.
So, yeah, I think he could be good, and then we get the other side of the 30s, Salvi Perez, where he's just grounding the ball out the shortstop and playing bad catcher, like he always has.
He makes too much money. Why in the world would the Royals eat any of it? And if they're not going to eat the money to keep their franchise icon, Salvi Perez, why are they assuming $60+ million to bring back a guy that they already traded away just last year?
I don't know.
And he's no Alex Gordon either.
And he sucks. Yeah, I mean, Gordon sucked too, though.
I mean, he's pretty good defensively. They love him there. He
Yeah.
retired his number already, I
A
believe.
lot of Gold Gloves.
Yeah.
Won a
very
World
odd.
Series.
That's got to be one of the weirdest.
Oh, he was like a Mr. Royal
Jersey
pretty
return.
brief.
I mean, they pretty much brought him up.
For them, yeah.
From Nebraska, so in the area, and then was a Royal for life. He had a chance to go, and I remember, like, he just signed back with the Royals when he was kind of still good.
Good face of the franchise for them, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. I love them some Alex Gordon.
Don't be out
Don't
here
be
knocking
poo-pooing
Alex Gordon.
Alex Gordon.
I will be knocking Andrew Benintendi. Thank
Forever.
God.
Shocking. Drink.
Yeah. Well, wait. Hold on. Damn it! I didn't even have the numbers right. I can't even burn them. Okay, let's go to the shortstops here. Greg.
Oh, God. You couldn't even burn.
Greg, why don't you play the goal horn to wake yourself up? A little slipping behind there. What do you call those on the Bears show?
I'm texting Doug Plank.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, let me
I'm
pick
so
that name
sorry.
up. Hold on.
You also have a job.
Let me put that. Let me pick that name up. Goodness gracious.
Part of it. It's part of
Jesus
the,
Christ.
it's part of the job.
All right. The 2023-2024 shortstop free agent options. Ahmed Rosario, Brandon Crawford, Javier Baez, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Tim Anderson, Jose Iglesias, Paul DeJong, Nick Ahmed, Joey Wendell, Alberto Mondesi. He's a former Royal.
He is.
I hear Adrianza and Kike Hernandez. There is a opt-out for Javier Baez, so he might or might not be a free agent. I know you say no.
Be a free agent.
There were some weird comments.
He's re-signing. I mean, he's not messing with that. He's not going to get, what, $20+ million
He was awful this year, wasn't he?
On the open market?
Yeah.
Well, I guess he doesn't want to opt. No, wait.
Hell no, he doesn't want to opt out.
No, I saw a weird. I'll try to find the quote.
He's like, I'm staying this sumbitch right here.
And obviously, Tim Anderson has a team option as well on that list.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah,
but,
it is not a star-studded crop of names at either position there. But I guess if you want to say silver lining of keeping Tim Anderson, for those who don't, is that you could shop in both of those areas, right? If the idea is on the table that, maybe he could be a second baseman for the White Sox. I think at the end of the day, also, too, as we talked about so often last year when we were looking at lists that weren't super appealing, trades. And I know the White Sox don't have a ton of trade capital in the minor leagues, but I think they probably have more now than they did then, than they did a year ago. So obviously there's a name that factors into all this, Colson Montgomery. When is he going to be up? Do they keep shortstop free and clear for him? There was a comment from Pedro toward the end of the season that was in response to a question about young players maybe coming to spring training, would they have a shot? And he said, hey, competition reigns, and if you want to, if these guys have their eyes on making a big league team, this could be a very good opportunity for them to do so. So I don't know. Colson Montgomery's looked really good in the minor leagues. He's looked really good in areas that the White Sox need help in, right? We talk about on base and that kind of thing. But ready for opening day next year, that would seem to be jumping the gun a little bit. That being said, this is the same organization that pushed all in on Oscar Colas real quick. Maybe that's the lesson you learn there. But, again, these are different guys. Montgomery seems to be a much different kind of prospect than Colas is or was and is. So that all goes in there. But, again, if you're starting opening day waiting for Colson Montgomery, leaving a roster spot open for him, you're not trying to compete next year. That would be my thought, right? Because otherwise you'd be on the team on opening day, right?
Correct. I want Eri Andrianza because, firstly, he's related to Ozzy and the Guillen family. And secondly, I can sing the Andrianza first.
You could.
Always.
Yeah.
I would sing it every time he comes up.
I know you would. And
it should just
I'd
be his
allow it.
walk-up song.
Yeah.
Adriana.
See?
Law liked it.
Feel the warmth and luxury
that
that you deserve.
Hey, shout out to 95th and Western. I mean, again, looking at the whole scope of this, I mean, I know Herb, I'm surprised you haven't slandered Tim Anderson by saying Ahmed Rosario is better yet.
He was last year.
Well, I mean, why don't you say it with your chest?
He was this year too.
Why wouldn't Chris Getz be calling up Rosario?
I mean, good. He's probably going to be
Younger.
a lot of money on the open market because he is in his prime still, and that shortstop crop isn't anything. So he'll probably be the top middle infielder selected out of free agency, and you'll make some real money, not real money that the shortstops made last year because it was a real crop. but he'll make the most out of these people coming, and I'm good. And once you have Tim Anderson on your team, I think he can be better than Ahmed Rosario, especially in a walk year. So I would just go with Tim and the $14 million that you're gonna club option him for.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes a heck of a lot of sense to keep Tim Anderson and keep him as your shortstop. Again, then you could be in a situation where you're going out and getting Josh Harrison again, you're getting Elvis Andrus again, you're getting Cesar Hernandez again, these kind of uninspiring solutions for second base. But, again, it all depends on everything else. I really think that this offseason for the White Sox is really connected to each other. There's not going to be one move where it goes, well, that's a great move. The other moves, No, all these moves are going to be the same, and it's going to determine what this team is going to do. I don't know if you can jump out and say, they got to go get that guy for either of those two lists. It really seems like, you got to think about the trade market as well. If they are going to try to make a push to be a team that's going to compete, you need a better second baseman than you're finding on those lists.
And Popeye is still on the 40-man roster too. So I mean, if they want to rush Jose Rodriguez up, maybe we'll see. I know you said no to Colson, but I mean he's Rodriguez is a little bit more seasoned, I guess.
But is he
good?
Is he
as good as Colson? No.
No good. Period. Not as Colson. Is he good?
I don't know. I mean, is anyone good? We know Luis Robert's good, and apparently the Seattle Mariners fans want us to trade,
oh my God,
pennies and dimes for Luis Robert Jr.
Brian Wu, come on now,
get your own outfielder. Well, let's take a break and let you know about our friends over at CIRCA Sportsbook, and then we will jump into our AL fantasy only teams that you guys probably forgot we drafted.
I did.
March 31st or March 21st was.
I looked at him. Boy, did I do bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, there is one reason why your team was held back a little bit.
One.
We'll get into it. Yeah, well, one like real. We'll let you know about our friends over at CIRCA. If you haven't yet, you have to download the CIRCA Sportsbook app. You can have America's largest sportsbook at your fingertips right now. The best part about CIRCA is they have tight money line splits and low hold model. So games on CIRCA Sportsbook will strive to be a -110 split on the CIRCA Sports menu. Unlike other sportsbook, which may use -115 or -120 splits, you'll be getting the most of your wager. Why pay VIG? VIG is for the sports books, right? That's for people who understand that word, right? You should just be able to say, I like this bet, and go place that bet. And that's what CIRCA strives to do. And the best part, too, is they have great customer service. There are real people behind the CIRCA Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books who use chatbox. And all aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the beautiful and lovely CIRCA Sportsbook at CIRCA Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So if you haven't yet, download the CIRCA Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app. That's circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for CIRCA events, watch parties, and tailgates. Our next one is on the 15th of October as the Bears take on the Vikings. So come check out that's Sunday.
Yeah.
And then there's one next Sunday on the 22nd as the Bears take on the Raiders. Come check out CIRCA at our tailgate. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537, text GMB 833-234, or visit areyoureallywinning.com. Herb already gave out his picks for the Hawks tonight, and
I did.
He's just betting Connor Bedard. So there you go. And CIRCA is going to be posting props all throughout the year for Bedard and his games. So if you're looking for shots on goal and I believe to score a point or a goal, you can go check those lines out at CIRCA Sportsbook now. Also want to let you know about the Die Hard program. We got an event coming up on the 15th. This Sunday, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Chicago Bears. We have our tailgate coming up. Braggs, you are the connoisseur.
What do you want?
I'm
sleeping over here. Don't bug me.
Is Doug Plank coming to our tailgate, or what's going on?
I'm working on that, okay?
Okay, all right. Why don't you tell people about what's happening on the 15th?
Yes, as you alluded to during the great CIRCA read, and CIRCA Sports has been great with us. They've been coming out to our tailgates, and they will be there on the 15th as well, and the tailgates going forward. Go to allchgo.com, go to the events tab, get your tickets to these tailgates. If you don't get these tailgate tickets, the Bears aren't going to win these games. So do you not want them to win? Because if you do want them to win, you got to come to these tailgates.
I mean, that sounds like a pretty easy promise for Braggs to make.
It's fairly that simple.
Seems superstitious too.
Fairly that simple. That's what's going to happen. Come to the tailgate. All you can drink Goose Island. All you can eat Firewater Barbecue. You guys have had it, right?
I have. I've been to both of them.
Really good food, huh?
Delicious.
Delicious food.
And they pile it on, too, from that pulled pork. Mercy.
Yep.
And you're drinking a Goose Island now?
Wings, good sauces, macaroni and cheese.
Coleslaw.
Coleslaw. You get
Macaroni and cheese?
Oh, yeah.
Both?
Delicious.
Did I not say that
No,
right?
you did. He was
Just
just
being silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cheese,
Usually it's
cheese
just
is included. And
dry
the
macaroni.
Right.
So.
And the vibes are included as well.
That's
and if
good.
you become a diehard, you can get a discount on that event and any future events we have, including the Blackhawks game we have coming up. You know, so get a lot of different advantages
T-shirts.
to become a diehard. You get a free T-shirt right out the gate, like the one Herb's wearing right now. So you can get it. Basically pays for itself. Become a diehard, get a free T-shirt, get a discount on the tailgate that you're already coming to because the Bears want to win. We need you to help us get the Bears that win.
And will you be walking the people down it like you always do?
I did it for the first game. But,
Do it again.
Okay, but we lost that game.
So that's because our defense played
Didn't
like
you lose the
shit.
second game?
Then we
We're
lost
back.
the next game too. So
We're back.
yeah. I don't know.
Goddamn back. Fuck the Vikings.
I'm glad that we have the Chicago Bears version of Billy Mays producing our show because that way they
hope
can just
not.
send it to him and he can
Rest in peace to our God.
he could
Billy
sell you
Mays.
on the tailgate. It should be a great time, and Greg's done a great job revamping our tailgates, making it even better than it was last year. So shout out to Greg. He's done some phenomenal work. All right, let's get into our AL only
I
tailgate.
almost hit the horn there, but
Hit it.
No,
Come on.
Now we know. People know.
Yeah, and you gave him a heads
people are
up.
waiting for the
Hawks
horn.
won. The Hawks
Come on,
won.
yeah, they won.
Hawks win.
Hawks horn!
Lawrence is like, I gotta get a quieter horn. No,
What?
We need that.
The whole point of the horn is that it's loud. It's
Yeah.
a blaring horn.
It's a celebration.
Yeah. Have you ever been at the United Center when they score? It's
a
like
celebration, bitches.
It feels like an attack.
Drink up.
What are you doing?
Rick James.
Oh, Rick James pitch.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's get into our AL. Sorry to ask you while you were taking
fine.
a sip of beer too. Let's get into our AL only fantasy teams. No Stephen Nicholas today producing our show, but we're gonna talk about him anyway and his team.
And his terrible team.
His team was real bad, but still better than mine.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll show the stats in just a second. We're gonna go through the teams and then we'll get you the stats in just a second. But in left field first, Steven drafted Taylor Ward. Then in center field, Aaron Judge. Right field,
Why did he draft Taylor Ward?
Teoscar Hernandez. I don't know. At third base, Matt Chapman. Shortstop, Bo Bichette. At second base, Marcus Semien. At first base, Anthony Rizzo. At catcher, future White Sox, Sal Perez. At DH, Yordan Alvarez. And pitching, Shane McClanahan. It's just a tough year for him. Really, outside of Marcus Semien, all of those guys were hurt.
There he is. Steven's watching.
Is he?
Steven!
Yeah, his team was injured, damn it. So we'll have to get him in 2024. But let's get into our teams. We'll get into Vinny's first. Vinny didn't have Ohtani.
No, he didn't.
Weirdly enough.
He had the first pick, but he didn't have Ohtani.
No, who'd you take?
Trout.
Oh, you took Trout. Trout was your center fielder. And left field, you had Steven, what is it,
Ambassador of the Quan.
Ambassador of the Quan. We haven't talked about him in a bit, so I
So
forgot
that
about.
shows you how my team did this year.
Well, we haven't talked about this in like months.
Yeah.
Quan in left field, Trout in center, Springer in right. At third base, Bregman. At second base, Brandon Lau. At first base, Jose Abreu. At catcher, Adley Rutschman. At DH, Giancarlo Stanton. Pitcher, Lance Lynn. And just, yikes, shortstop, Wander Franco. So your team immediately hurt because your shortstop got placed on administrative leave. And when you're on administrative leave, you can't play.
Yeah, and, all those other guys not doing very well also contributed to that.
I mean, like, Springer was bad. Trout was hurt.
Lance Lynn gave up all the home runs.
He had
All of them.
44,
Yeah,
I think.
Every one of them.
Adley was good.
Adley was great.
Yeah.
So I nailed one of them.
Your team was okay.
It was bad.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't as bad as Stevens, if we could say
All
that.
right.
Wow.
Wow, okay.
And the top two teams,
I would have thought him having Semien just would have put him over the top.
no one drafted Corey Seager.
No?
Not a single one of us took Corey
White Sox
Seager.
didn't want that.
I should have.
White Sox
Let's
didn't want that.
look at my team. Oh, yeah. Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. That seems like too much talent. My team is in left field, Randy Arozarena. In center field, Julio Rodriguez.
All right.
In right field, Anthony Santander.
Right.
Third base, Rafael Devers.
He was great.
And at shortstop, Tim Anderson.
Ooh.
At second base, Andres Jimenez. 98 weighted runs created plus. And at first base, Andrew Vaughn. At catcher, Alejandro Kirk. At DH, the guy who saved my team, Shohei Ohtani. And my pitcher was Dylan Cease.
I mean, that outfield is great.
Yes.
That outfield did great.
Third
Devers
base
was
was
great.
fine, yeah.
And Ohtani obviously was Ohtani.
Yeah.
And Cease was okay.
And if I took Corey Seager, I probably would have won.
Oh, yeah.
Cease was fine. And then Herb's team, we'll get to our champion and the full stats here. Herb's team, Greg, flash Herb's team. I can't do my show.
Look at me.
In left field, Dalton Varsho.
Terrible.
In center field, Luis Robert Jr.
Let's go.
In right field, Kyle Tucker.
All right, let's go.
Herb ran away with this.
Yes. Who stole like 30 bags, too. Like,
Damn right.
Kyle Tucker's Skeletor ass was stealing
Did you
bags.
just yell at me to flash you?
Yes. You were talking
As
to Lawrence.
always.
Doing your job. First Doug Plank, now Lawrence. I mean, just focus on what's in front of you.
I'm extremely ADHD.
Same. Third base, Jose Ramirez.
Let's go.
At shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr. At second base, Gleyber Torres.
Damn it.
At first base, Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Fine.
I mean, you wouldn't really go back and repick it. I mean, it's still Vlad. I mean, he just was bad.
He had an all right year, but it's like a 117 OPS plus for a first baseman. It's just, nah.
You got the big dumper, Cal Raleigh.
There we go.
DH, Eloy Jimenez.
Ugh.
And the only pitcher that was worth selecting, Garrett Cole.
Cy Young.
Let's flash the stats. Herb, you basically led in
Most
every
categories.
category. Yeah, Steven led with the rate stats, and that's basically because his guys played less. 267 batting average, 338 on base percentage, 467 slug led. So Steven won 3 categories there. Vinny, you had the most walks with 514. That was the only category you won.
Yep.
I didn't win a single category.
But I crushed it.
You did crush it. What did you crush?
514 on the walks, and no one else got close to 500 walks.
I know. Come on.
You
People
walked
are
a
just
ton.
patient.
Had the lowest homers. All of us got to 200. You didn't.
Nope.
You had a decent amount of doubles.
Whew. That's a bad.
Guys showed
That's
up with
bad.
triples.
That's bad year.
I didn't lead in any category, and Herb led in singles, doubles, triples, homers. I believe RBIs and stolen bases.
Goddamn right.
You killed Herb, and you also had the best pitcher. So congratulations, Herb Lawrence.
Yeah, you're not even putting up the pitching stats. He had the guy who's going to win the Cy Young.
Yes.
I had the guy who led baseball in home runs allowed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had Dylan Cease, who was mid, and Steven had a guy who was hurt.
Who did Steven have?
He had Shane
McClanahan.
McClanahan.
Oh,
Rue
Rue.
McClanahan.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So Rue didn't finish the season, so he was unfortunately
About time I
the
won
worst
one of these
pitcher.
things.
And hey, this was AL only. My pitcher didn't even finish the season in the American League. True.
So yeah, that hurt your chances too.
Does that mean I get a few of those home runs shaved off?
Oh my God.
I don't think it helps either way.
This kind of makes up for how bad my 2022 preseason predictions went, where I got like every single person wrong and every division wrong. I think I picked the Padres to win the World Series, the White Sox to win the division.
My preseason World Series pick's still alive.
What was it?
Astros.
Oh,
Golly. It is.
I picked the Mets and the Mariners. So yeah, they're both dead. Anyways,
You don't even know what stupid is. It's about to get
Oh,
Damn
you
right.
cut
I
him
got
off?
cut
caught.
off. Michael Scott got cut
Well,
off.
I just wanted the first part. The stupid is.
I do know ball.
thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Sam.
I appreciate it. That's Greg Braggs Jr. for producing. You can follow
I
him.
did a
at-
terrible job today, guys.
You were
You were
I did
fine.
You were
It was like
adequate.
a Tim Anderson effort.
I mean,
I thought it was an entertaining job at the very least.
It's entertaining.
when
Well,
you're
I'll
compared-
always be entertained.
It's an off-season.
I
When you
may not
compare-
be good at my job.
when you compare it to
But
the
I'll be
pinnacle of
entertained.
Stephen Nicholas, it's gonna be you're gonna fall short all the time.
Right.
Everybody.
He'll
is.
be calling me, I'm sure.
Follow Greg at G Braggs Jr. 23. The one thing you got Steven beat on is you actually have a Twitter. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Congrats to Herb. Hit that like button and subscribe button on your way out. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.